New city, new adventure, this time in Stockholm, Sweden's stunning capital. From medieval cobblestone streets to the world's oldest open air museum and a ship that spent over 300 years underwater, this city is full of surprises. Let's get started.
So you can get a direct train from the airport called the Arlanda Express, and it runs between Arlanda Airport and Stockholm Central Station. As you can see, it's a nice, clean train. It only takes about 20 minutes. It is £26 per person though, one way, which is pretty pricey. Sweden is also one of the most heavily forested countries in Europe. About 63% of it is covered by forest.
So, a bit about Stockholm. It's built on 14 islands and connected by 57 bridges, so that gives it the nickname Venice of the North. It's also birthplace of brands that you may have heard of, such as IKEA, H&M, Spotify, ABBA. So this statue's of the King of Sweden, who reigned from 1611 to 1632. This building in front of us to the right-hand side is the Parliament House, and the river that runs through Stockholm is called the Norrstrom or the North Stream. It's one of the shortest rivers in Europe.
Stockholm actually has over 100 museums, which makes it one of the highest museum densities per capita in the world. There's the ABBA Museum, one of the world's largest photography museums, the Nobel Prize Museum, Vichy Museum. So if you're into museums and it's not great weather, Stockholm is the place to be.
And one of the cool museums we went to was the Vasa Museum. So this was a Swedish warship built between 1626 and 1628.
It was intended to be the pride of the Swedish Navy during the country's era of military expansion.
However, it sank on its maiden voyage in 1628, actually in the harbor, less than 1,300 meters from where it set sail.
It capsized because it was too top heavy and unstable due to the sort of huge elaborate back end of it.
So because of Stockholm's brackish harbor, it was actually preserved for 333 years.
Yeah, due to the cold salt water basically. It was rediscovered in 1956 though and salvaged in 1961.
And what you're seeing here is 98% of the original ship, making it one of the world's best preserved 17th century ships.
It's actually one of the most visited museums in the whole of Scandinavia, and I would definitely recommend it. Probably one of the best museums I've ever been to.
So after the Vasa Museum, we went to the Royal Game Park, which is about 690 acres in the center of Stockholm. It makes up part of the Royal National City Park and is actually 8 times the size of Central Park in New York City. So we just took some lime scooters, zipped around the park, saw some deer here, as you can see.
And if you ever come to Stockholm to run the marathon, that's the park you'll be running in.
And here we have the Royal Palace. This is one of Europe's largest royal palaces still in use. And you can see the Swedish royal guards outside of that.
These colourful buildings around the main plaza are traditional for Scandinavian architecture. This area is called Gamla Stan, or the Old Town, and it's one of the best preserved medieval city centres in the whole of Europe. Stockholm is home to many museums as mentioned, and it's also home to the Nobel Prize ceremonies, which is held annually at Stockholm City Hall.
And City Hall was right next to those colorful buildings. So after that, we went to this viewpoint. This is up a public elevator called the Katarina elevator. It connects the lower waterfront to the upper part of the city, and you get a pretty nice view over the old town.
It's free, and if the elevator isn't working, you can go into one of the buildings and you can get up to it that way. This theme park is called Gröna Lund, or the Green Grove. It was founded in 1883, making it Sweden's oldest amusement park. It was closed while we were there though, because we visited during winter.
And of course, no trip to Stockholm is complete without actually getting on the water to see the archipelago, which is actually the second largest in the Baltic Sea. So we boarded our ship from central Stockholm.
In Vasa actually had a sister ship called Applet. I might be pronouncing that wrong, but it basically means the apple in Swedish. And it was a ship that was essentially identical in design to the Vasa. And after the Vasa sank, Sweden still urgently needed large warships for the king's military campaigns at the time. So it was launched in 1629, just a year after the Vasa sank. And she served in the Swedish Navy for a few years and then deliberately sunk as part of a defensive barrier in the Stockholm archipelago to prevent enemy ships from approaching. And they found the remains in 2019. However, they haven't resurrected that ship because it's extremely expensive to do so, and I guess it would just look the exact same as the Vasa.
Yes, so we may have sailed over it. We don't know. But it's in this area, in the archipelago somewhere. And even though it looks sunny, it was really cold this day, but we were trying to take in the views, so we were one of the only ones on top of the ship. And we had to try Swedish meatballs, not from IKEA this time. This was a really good restaurant. And we also had another really good restaurant called Max Burger.
Despite Sweden having the highest number of McDonald's per capita in Europe, Max Burger is everywhere and it beats McDonald's on taste, in my opinion.
Really good vegetarian and vegan options for like burgers if you're ever in Stockholm.
Yeah, overall, loved Sweden. It was a bit chilly to visit in winter, but I imagine it gets super busy in the summer months, and at least it wasn't snowing. And next time we might visit something like the Ice Hotel.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be back.